Welcome, folks. Welcome. Very excited to have you guys here for the very first episode of the Martini tape. We have a very good friend of mine, director Creed, with us here today for our first episode to bring us in right. Give you a brief background on myself. My name is Jordan Gonzalez. I'm a cinematographer, DP, gaffer. I have worked closely with Creed here as both his gaffer and his DP, while he has filled the positions of DP and director on various different projects. How long has it been now since we've been working together, Creed? 2 years?
Yeah.
Right about 2 years?
It probably is about 2 years, but it feels like a lot longer for sure.
Yeah, it does, man. But yeah, I think it's been about 2 years, maybe 2.5 years. I'd like to say I've grown within my craft with you. I've seen you grow tremendously within your craft as well. It's been an honor entering battle with you many times. Many times over and over again. You know, sometimes these sets they get wild, crazy, and out of control in different ways. Every set is unique, but you know, you get real close with the people you work on set with, and I just want to say, you know, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate all of the calls, all of the trust, all of the faith that you've put in me as a DP and as a gaffer. It goes a long way, and yeah, I just want to extend that thank you, and I want to give you the mic now, so to say, to, you know, talk to the people, introduce yourself, talk about what you got going on. Talk about Bored Again briefly before we dive into your work. You know, tell them what we've got going on.
For sure. So I am director Creed. You know, done many things, and what I love the most to do is just to kind of create and surround myself around community. Like anything that I do is always community based, and before I even, or how I even got into directing and things like Bored Again, which is a curating business that we're starting now. We're cultivating vibes and culture throughout the city, and wanting to kind of shop this around and take this, you know, not only in Atlanta, but to LA, New York, and really just kind of build up the community, because that's what brought me into this space, is what brought me into directing, truthfully. Because before I was directing, I was in college, putting on parties and little events around the city, art shows, and kind of connecting with people. And by creating those spaces, that's how I kind of got really involved with even picking up a camera, because I was seeing these artists. I was actually managing an artist at the time, and he needed all of these things in these spaces. He needed the content, the music videos. And by me just kind of helping a friend, I started to like enjoy it, and it became like its own obsession, and, you know, grew me into like really hopping into this career path.
So this guy that you were helping out, damn, sorry, so trying to get into your teeth. Come on, baby girl, that ain't for you. This guy that you were helping out, though, he was like a promoter as well?
Nah, he was actually a rapper based out here. In Atlanta. It was around the time period of like, this was like 2014 into 2016 type of era of Atlanta and the music. This was like Father, McConan, when Tuesday really dropped. People like OG Mako, like this was like the viral before viral was now. Like what Bitch You Guessed It, like that was a real viral time. So it was around that music period.
And a lot of these artists you're talking about, for the folks that don't know, are Atlanta artists?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of Atlanta-based artists.
I don't even think we dove into that. So Creed and I currently are both based out of Atlanta. I'm originally from Richmond, Virginia. Creed from Florence, South Carolina?
Yeah, Florence, South Carolina.
Florence, South Carolina. I've only been in Atlanta 3 years now. And like I said, I've been working with Creed about 2.5, so he was one of my first contacts that I've made, and I maintained a strong work ethic with. How long have you been in Atlanta?
I've been in Atlanta just about my whole life. So, well, I got here like in like maybe like early 2000 and just went to finish out elementary and middle school and high school here. So, been here pretty much my whole life.
The artists that you started with that you were mentioning, are they still doing music?
They aren't doing music, but because of that artist, I was able to connect with a lot of people and a lot of artists in the city that have continued on and have like worked with, artists that are relevant even today, like a Lil Yachty, for instance.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, not to ride coattails or name drop too much, but what are some of the artists that you've worked with that, some of our
Yeah.
viewers may have heard of?
Yeah. Sometimes it's like one of those things of when you have to reflect back on some of the people that you work with, you kind of end up overlooking.
Yeah.
So like, it's definitely been a lot. I feel as if I had to think about where I wanted to be, if I had like a shallow obsession to be like, yeah, I want to work with all these artists, I feel like I've in some way achieved that small little surface level goal or dream. So it's like hard to even kind of think about. Like I feel like I've definitely been around artists like, you know, regardless of the everything going around in the media, but around like a Diddy.
Oh, you've been around Diddy?
Diddy, yeah.
When did you work with Diddy? Was it recently?
Actually got to the funny thing about that is like when I first got into this space of like shooting bigger artists right out of college, I had an opportunity of collaborating with someone who was kind of being known in that video space around that time. And it was a videographer, director who went by 20K.
Okay.
And he invited me out to Miami.
Is it 20K Visuals?
Yeah,
Is that
20K,
like his handle? Okay, I've heard of him.
Yeah, 20K Visuals. He invited me out to Miami after we probably only met briefly, like on social media, like one time.
How did you guys connect?
It was just through the DMs.
He liked your work, or
he liked my work, and he needed somebody to help him out on a shoot. He was shooting like I think like Kodak Black or something. Or
here
like,
in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Oh, so
or
he needed,
actually
like,
it was
some
Yo Gotti. He was shooting Yo Gotti. And I connected with him on social media. Somebody put out a post, and I just jumped on it like, "Yo, hey, I'm here. I'm available."
So you worked with Yo Gotti too?
Yeah,
okay,
that was like my first time.
Okay.
So it's like I remember
so like the overlooking thing, like you kind of forget.
Yeah. So it was like my first time, like really kind of making the decision to kind of jump out there. Somebody throw something on IG. He had a following. He was doing these things. I knew like I was curious, trying to figure out how to kind of get in that space. Linked up with him. We had exchanged good energy, keeping everything respectful, just being professional on the set. And he ended up hitting me back again. We did like some little viral work. And I only met him like that one time. And maybe like a couple weeks passed by. He was talking about doing something in Miami. And I'd never been to Miami. Also was very broke at the time. My account balance was probably like negative whatever.
What year was this?
This was like 2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bank account was definitely negative. I'm fresh out of college. And yeah, I was trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And he invited me to Miami in that condition, in that space. But I just didn't hesitate to kind of join. He got me a one-way, which was already kind of like a whoa, red flag, not really knowing when I'm coming back, or if I was even going to be making any money.
Yeah.
But I just took the opportunity and the chance because I was just thinking about like, where I wanted to go and who I want to kind of associate with, and just kind of trying to figure out what it is. Because nobody, I feel like when you're looking at what you want to do and when you're looking at, what other people are doing, like, I feel like when you're growing up and you are hopping into this space, no matter where you are, you're looking at these music videos, You know what I'm saying? Like the Drakes and the Kendricks, and you're wondering like how do I get those jobs? How do I get in that position? So, you know, I think if you're curious, you should just go find out and just be, you know, pretty active about it. You know, don't think about the little things and little setbacks as to, you know, how do I do it and stuff like that. Like if you want to do it, just really try to do it and try to be in that position. Of course, you know, you got to be smart and, you know, I'm not going to suggest go somewhere with no money because how do you get back?
Sure.
But, you know, not be afraid to take the risk. And just
you got to start taking steps and then figure out the journey.
Yeah, so, you know, that opportunity really showed me the doors. I've never been around that many superstars, even though I've been around, you know, in Atlanta, you see people all the time. But I was like really there experiencing things with them. Like they were having a good time.
And this was early in your career.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is 2017. When did you start shooting?
I think I probably started shooting for real maybe like my senior year in college, like 2016.
Okay, so a year into shooting and you're already around people you grew up seeing on television.
Yeah.
Since then, you know, you mentioned Yo Gotti and you mentioned Diddy, both from working with 20K Visuals.
Right.
What are a couple other names? I know that we're going to be talking about a video with Drake and Sexyy Red. So obviously you worked closely with, I know Sexyy Red you've done quite a few projects with now, but that was the first time working with Drake, right?
Yeah, that was the first time. No, I worked with Drake. I did some light work with French Montana.
Okay.
It was just some like recap tour thing, and this was around the time when No Stylist.
Okay.
Had dropped.
So that's another name on the list then, French Montana. Yeah. Who else we got?
Man, I've worked with French, worked with like a lot of Atlanta artists that was coming up, OG Mako, Baconin. I've worked with K Camp. Wow, how can I?
Yeah, I was gonna say K Camp because I've worked with you with K Camp. Yeah. K Camp is super dope.
Worked with K Camp, man. I've worked with RIP, PNB Rock.
Yeah, RIP.
Asian Doll. Tory Lanez.
Yeah, Tory. I remember seeing a recent video with MJ Grizz. Shout out to MJ Grizz.
Yeah.
Got a Tory Lanez feature and video that we just shot a super dope lyric video for.
Yeah.
When I'm talking, we blew the lyric video game out the water. You guys have to check out the lyric video. It is a piece of art. And that is all the creative direction of Creed. I lit it. I helped shoot it. I was a cinematographer, but the creative direction and where we were able to take that lyric video project in one day, that was dope.
Yeah,
that was one I'm very proud of.
For a shot to us on that one, for sure.
But yeah, so Tory Lanez,
man. Thinking about even some of the gospel people I worked with,
right,
Jonathan McReynolds, Dante Bowe. Chandler Moore.
Yeah, Chandler Moore. Yeah, these are Grammy Award winning artists, you know. Yeah. So, you know, shout outs to you, man. That's super dope. We could probably go on forever about the names. We don't mean to leave anybody out.
Yeah.
And anybody who we didn't mention that we love to work with, no hard feelings. There's no ill intention there. We could go on for days though, because I truly feel like some of the best projects I've worked on are with artists who are still emerging.
Yeah.
So I don't mean to disrespect anybody by not mentioning your names when we've done projects or Creed's done projects with you.
For sure. We can just go back and listen to everything.
Yeah, for sure. But let's dive into the whole point of this podcast. We're going to be talking about Sexyy Red featuring Drake, correct?
Yeah. Well, I mean, technically, Drake is just featured in the video.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
As there's there's a lot of features in the video. That's what made it so fun. Which
we're about to get into. Yeah. If you're a 90s baby, early 2000s kid, you grew up, you know, cranking that Soulja Boy, going to the skate rink, any of that stuff, you have to check out this video. It's super dope. I did not work on this video at all. Like I did mention, we worked very closely on a lot of projects recently. However, this one was out of state. It was in Miami. I had zero to do with it, so I don't know much about it. We've talked very briefly about how it went.
Yeah.
I did see the behind the scenes, which you guys can check out the entire behind the scenes on YouTube. We'll be showing some snippets here in the podcast when we talk about them. But yeah, I've been kind of waiting for a moment to talk about this project more, and just give you a chance to talk about it candidly.
For sure.
And get the martini take. You know, we're not drinking martinis today. We just got some lemon ginger tea with some honey. You know, fall's coming, it's getting cold, and
facts.
You know, we both are on our health tip, but you know, I do want to give you a chance to talk candidly and, you know, let the folks know, let the folks know how it goes behind the scenes and what the work, you know, all the work and stress and efforts that go into these projects.
No, facts. Like I was even saying before, when you first getting into this and you're thinking about how do you get to these points when you're working with artists and budgets, that are seemingly at the levels that you are the pinnacle, you know? You know, these are the big artists that are, you know, that you're hearing everywhere on the radio, that you're seeing at the award shows, and that you're just like, you know, imagining that this would be like pretty peak success or a peak in a sense. So having that opportunity for one, to be able to work on projects like that is phenomenal and a blessing. And, you know, it's definitely been something to like kind of learn your way into. That project, I'm actually was the creative producer on that project. Des Gray was the director, but me and Des have a working relationship. We've directed music videos and projects together, as well as, you know, I've produced on some of her work, and she's produced on some of mine as well.
Nice.
So anytime we kind of work together, those roles and things like that, because we work together so closely, it really blends, and we're just there to kind of support each other in those spaces. But with this project, I was able to really kind of help out and facilitate a few different roles and work heavily with the creative of it. It was a wild ride. Like, this project was one that when we kind of composed the idea and the treatment, it always started with this idea of we wanted to bring it back. We wanted to kind of have it feel some sense of nostalgia. The song and the beat sample already gives it off the top.
Yeah.
You know, and originally we was actually supposed to shoot this in Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah, we were supposed to.
I could see it have gone well in Atlanta.
Yeah,
especially with the skate rink.
Exactly. Like, we wanted to bring out all of everything that felt like 06, like everything up to like Snap era, which is featured in the video. But we have Fabo and everything like that. We wanted to like really like cultivate that, you know. And I don't even remember what names we were throwing up. We were throwing up everybody's name we could possibly think of to be like, yeah, they should come in this video. Like, everything from like, you know, obviously D4L with Fabo, but we wanted to see if we can get the franchise boys to come out. We wanted to bring anybody and everybody out and make everybody be like, whoa, this, you know, at this point it would have felt like we was really just doing it on for Atlanta. And maybe that's probably why we kind of like made a little switcheroo. But,
so how did you end up in Miami?
Honestly, it was really Sexy's idea. I think it worked out better for her to stay in Miami because she was in Miami already at the time.
Okay.
So that was like when and I think everything started to go haywire when it came to, when I say like how fast paced it got. When we made that switch and say it's no longer in Atlanta, because we're based in Atlanta, and like the first thing I remember, Des telling me,
I might have been able to go pull up or play a role or something if it been
sure.
Atlanta.
It would have been a lot of the home team. And that. And I remember, like I said, when we made that switcheroo and said, "Hey, we're gonna be in Miami," everything started to kind of like hit the pedal.
Yeah.
Because the creative kept changing as the days grew in. Like as soon as we set a date and we was like, it's in Miami, it was like every day a new idea, a new this, a new person to
Is
bring.
that like is that just because like too many cooks in the kitchen type of thing? Like too many people had creative input to throw out ideas,
I think everybody.
Or was that the nature of the beast? Is that it was such a collaborative process that you just had to man that ship and get through that time?
It was a little bit of both, because it was like more so this excitement happening around the record. Because first we had the bass idea.
So emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah, got you. Okay, I've been there too, where it's it's such a cool opportunity that you just keep getting ideas to add.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. But it did get wild, or it was getting wild, because it was like,
well, the video gets wild. We haven't even watched it yet for the reaction, but the video it's got its parts.
Nah, for sure. So we, like as we're kind of building this creative and we have our base, we already knew what the whole imagery that we wanted to go for was set. No matter what was happening, everything was set on this idea imagery that I got to kind of cultivate with Dez. And once we knew that we wanted it to feel nostalgic, it didn't matter what came at us. We were just gonna just fit it in. And trust me, everything was coming at us. Like even like everybody from that you see in the video, from like Aiden Ross to Fabo, to all the influencers that we see there inside of the video, to Drake. Everything was not cultivated in the beginning. It was like, we have this idea. Hey, we want to throw Aiden Ross in it because this happened, in the real world. And then, so, it was like, that's hot. And it was like a new spice. It was like, okay.
So
it was
virality, if that's the correct pronunciation, that was a factor.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And it was, and I think it was also just striking while it's hot. Sexyy at the time had just like put out like a little snippet of the song, and it went crazy. Like she just put out a snippet and it went bananas.
Which song is it again? The title, I forget.
Get It Sexy.
Get It Sexy. I don't know how I forgot that. Yeah, Get It Sexy.
Yeah.
Okay.
She put out a little sample and it went crazy on TikTok, all social media. And I think like when we kind of like set up the idea with her, and she saw how viral it was going, she got excited. Like they were on top of this quickly. It was like, oh, it's hot right now. Let's go ahead and shoot this video. And then as we was setting this thing up, it was like, let's add this, let's add that, let's add this, let's add that. As we're going, this person is now down. This person can make it. This person can't make it. So things were just changing, and these pieces of the creative was just being added in.
Yeah, how long, I guess, from like start to execution, the actual shoot, like how long was that time frame?
I mean, we were making changes all the way up until the shoot day.
Well, how long was the planning process though? How many weeks did you have to get all this stuff lined up?
Maybe like a week, honestly.
A week?
Yeah.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah. Like
that music video world moves fast.
It definitely do. Like, these days.
And so a week was the amount of time you guys had to secure all your talent, lock in your creative ideas, lock in your crew, decide on camera, lensing, how you move the camera, SteadiCam, Dolly, Fisher Dolly, like all of these decisions had to be made in a week.
Yeah.
For a shoot out of town.
For sure. Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So, all right, I don't want to breeze over that. Who was the cinematographer on this?
The cinematographer was my brother Maverick, and Blueprint Films on IG and socials. He's great. He's great.
Yeah, it looks. Yeah. I mean, you guys are gonna see it, but it looks phenomenal.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah, he did his thing as he always did. We worked together on several projects, and I mean, solid guy, solid. Like, I mean,
And he's Atlanta based, right? Well, at least
I'm just gonna. He Georgia based.
Atlanta centered,
Yeah.
I would say, because I've worked with Maverick.
Yeah.
So I do know he's somewhat local to the Atlanta area.
Yeah, for sure.
So he traveled. He usually has his own G&E.
Yeah.
Did they travel as well, or did you guys
yeah.
have local G&E?
We have a couple guys out in Miami that we use
Mhm.
often, but he was able to bring in a couple guys that were local to here.
So it was a little mixture of both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, yeah. Let's just dive into watching it real quick, and let's just, because I know you said it's been a while since you watched it, and I always love going back and watching projects after they're no longer fresh on your mind, and then we'll dive into talking about it some more.
It's your boy Soldier Boy. Tell him, man.
Soldier Boy, right off the rip.
Sexy Red before she was Sexy Red, man.
Ain't you seen us on TV?
I wrote down, man. I don't know that.
Don't look like it looks like he coming out the screen. Right? I'm thinking like no, it looks like he coming out the screen.
Now I'm locked in. I'm crazy.
Big Soldier.
Right here, man.
Big Soldier's that you. Big Soldier. Oh, Big Soldier's that you.
Let's go.
I'll say this. Oh, the one thing I can say I love about what we did with this video and my experience with this video. This is my first time really working with like VFX heavily. And there's not like a lot of VFX happening, but oh my God, like being able to work with a VFX team and just seeing what they can do with your ideas.
Yeah.
Is crazy.
What team did you guys have on this? Do you remember? Let's make sure we get them some credit.
Yeah, man, I can't remember
Zozo,
off
come
the
on.
top.
Come on up, baby girl.
Can't remember off the top, but you can definitely chime them in.
Okay, yeah, I'll make sure that their info is up on the screen somewhere.
Yeah, they did great work, and just like I said, to be able to kind of see, what how they kind of can take like your thoughts and make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. Like we actually now that I reflect back on it, we actually saw.
Come on, baby girl.
We actually shot this video in two places. We had an LA day and a Miami day, but I wasn't there for the LA day.
Oh, okay.
And that's how we, like I said, the time that we were set to shoot this video, everything was moving fast. Sexyy actually was in LA, only going to Miami, which is why we didn't make the stop in Atlanta. So Sexyy went from LA to Miami, and that's why we ended up shooting in Miami.
Gotcha.
And
so the Soldier Boy, this is LA.
This is LA.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, and it was one of those situations where it was like Soldier Boy was added because they were presently there. And these ideas was, so it's like, oh, we got this scene with Soldier Boy. How do we fit this idea with Soldier Boy into the video that we're making?
Mm-hmm.
So all these ideas were kind of like stemming from our base, and then we just have to like plug it in,
figure out where it fits,
and make it make sense.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
I like the glasses. Everybody remember the glasses
for sure. And like I said, like the VFX team, like did amazing work.
Yeah.
You know, being able to make him look like he's coming out of the screen.
So did Maverick also shoot these LA scenes?
He did not shoot the LA scenes.
Okay.
Des had hired some other team, not sure who they were, but they actually shot the scene, and I just kind of was able to kind of facilitate and look at things via FaceTime.
So it's just
the scenes we see with Soldier Boy.
Just Soldier is shot in LA?
Mm-hmm.
None of Sexyy is shot in LA.
Sexyy and Soldier together.
When they're together.
Yeah.
So how about when she's in this hotel room or living room here with her?
When we're in this living room, this is actually a house that Des was able to just to kind of find, because she's actually from Miami, so she made a couple calls.
So that's in Miami.
Yeah, that's
was
in
that
Miami.
Before or after the Soldier Boy scenes were shot?
That was after the Soldier Boy. We shot Soldier Boy first.
So she kind of knew what was supposed to be happening with this TV scene.
Yeah, we kind of like I said, they were in LA, and you know, I'm on the phone with Dez and we're like making it up in the moment to be like, to plan for the future that we are now connecting.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Nice.
Damn, that shit's tight, son. You know what I mean? These be big. Okay.
That whole Yule part.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give that to Sexy. No.
The
that
transition idea at the end right there?
That was actually kind of like a combination between a lot of us on set. But it was her, but I think it all kind of came from her, which is why I would give it to her, because she came up with those lines, the whole "y'all mean," which I forgot about.
Yeah.
And it was just funny, so it brought me back. And then I think we were like on set trying to figure out a transitional moment. And I think I was talking with Dez and we were like, yo, it'd be crazy if like they all say Yule, because he says Yule in the video, and we can kind of cut that in and use that as like an action call.
Yeah.
So that was like a subtle moment that was good to kind of help.
No, that was dope.
Bring things in.
You know this ass super fast. I ain't lying. Fuck me good, I'm throwing this shit back. I'm insane. You wanna kiss me all over my tag? I'm so fucking sexy, they a tag. I can feel myself 'cause I know that I'm dead.
Yeah, this stuff was crazy. What I could say about all the energy in this whole sequence.
You got a lot of people there.
Yeah, we have a lot of people. There's a lot of people to rally up and manage, and everybody was excited. Like I said, this song, the song was already out. They already heard it, and it was one of those things where you could just feel the excitement on everybody's face and their bodies. Like they really kind of stuck it out and came through, and they was partying all day.
Yeah.
I mean, like I think this was like a video where anybody could have came and probably just had fun.
Mm-hmm.
This been like a great first on-set experience, I think, for anybody who've never been on a set like this before. Just because it wasn't that serious.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of things going on. We're about to see in a sec. Drake makes a appearance, and we were also trying to like not necessarily hide that information, because Sex has been seen with Drake a lot, especially around this time, and so like when we kind of even was letting people know or trying to separate people, letting everybody know, like a guest is coming in, and like to kind of separate, they was already guessing like who, Drake's here, and it was like just like trying to like get everybody down, and ultimately making sure everyone's safe.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it was so much crowd control, and the intercuts that we see in this scene, this whole little parking lot scene, this was actually a reshoot in the same day. We shot the parking lot scene in daylight as Drake was pulling in, but Sexy didn't like her outfit. Which was a good call, because I like that she's wearing the baggies and got the like it was more unison in this one.
Gotcha.
I'm not really big on like the whole gas station scene, especially with Sexy, because at the time we did so many. But this was a great one. This was like probably one of my favorites.
When you say did so many, you just mean like in previous projects?
Yeah, in previous projects. But this one has so much energy. Everybody was way more lit. And it was just like dope. It was a lot going on. We had the VHS going on. And just a lot of energy. It was just great.
Nice. No, it looks like a fun time for sure.
Walking through the hood look like a snake. But you know that, dog.
$4 you said? There you go. Okay.
Thank you.
I mean, yeah, that's red. I'll take blue. Okay. Oh, thank you. Wow.
That's what you like? That's what you like?
I'm here with you.
I mean, you looking at her like that's what you like.
Nah, don't start. Please don't start.
You know what? It's other niggas in here anyway.
What?
Man.
Hilarious cameo.
Yeah. So this was actually really fun to do. Because never really got to work with Drake this closely. Like again, I worked with him or worked adjacent with him, I would say. He was doing his tour. It was around the time No Stylist came out with French Montana. I was doing some running around with French. So I got to really kind of like kick it backstage in the back room by default with Drake and French and everybody else who was in the room. And it was a cool experience also just to be backstage, to be at a Drake show, to be able to see it close hand, to see like the preparation into the performance. And that was a period where when they had Migos together and they were all on tour with him. Forgot what tour it was, but I know it was the one that he had the lights and drones in the sky and the floating Lamborghini.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and yeah, it was a good time. So it was cool to just see, you know, what people would consider like, you know, an A-list celebrity.
Yeah. Did he remember that you guys had?
No, of course not.
No.
Of course not. Yeah.
Did you tell him?
Man,
Did you bring it up?
I didn't even bring it up.
No.
I try not to bring up too many things. I don't know the relationships. Of these people.
Their current status. Yeah, no, I hear that. Yeah.
You know, I just try to see if, like, you know, if I can establish a new relationship or working one now.
Sure.
But this was cool to work with. And Drake is punctual. Drake is definitely a professional. You know, a true entertainer. Like, he really just hopped in. Like, we just gave him the quick concept. We riffed about some ideas. He had come with ideas too. He's definitely collaborative in that space. And, you know, I didn't even consider it, you know, he obviously comes from an acting background and been on plenty of sets.
Sure.
So when you think about it in that aspect, it's pretty easy to like kinda,
and he's got great entertaining videos himself.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so he knows how to just give energy and really kind of play to the camera. So this was like super easy to like get through. I think the hardest issue with this scene was just how quick on time we needed to get him. So we couldn't necessarily perfect everything that we may want to do with lighting. So we had to do something really quick and be quick on our feet about it.
Well, speaking on lighting, we haven't talked too much about the technical side of it. You know, you were more on the creative side of it, so I wanted to really hone in on that. But what did that look like, G&E? How many people? What did that team look like?
I don't remember how vast the team was. It was a pretty size.
It's a big space. Yeah. And I'm assuming you guys didn't have much time with all these people to be having G&E in the ceiling, rigging lighting, and all of that.
I know a lot of things we did, we kind of kept simple. Eric is really good at pivoting. And because we were doing so many pivots throughout the day, I was making sure that we was in the space of always just knowing where we needed to be. I wasn't like ADing. I was more so, if I was ADing anything, it was more so just the relationship that me and Eric have. You know, that can kind of, and that's another thing. When you have certain relationships on set, and if you're able to kind of like, you know, integrate those relationships, you know what I'm saying, on set with like different people, it really could just be helpful. Cause like I'm able to get with the DP such as Eric and make sure that him and the AD and everyone else just kind of like, I get to kind of like slip in through the cracks and just make sure everything kind of glues in together.
Yeah.
making
What would you consider that role though? Because I know you're credited as creative producer, but as I saw and as I will show, I did see you doing a lot of ADing roles, it seemed. Did you kind of just find a hybrid of what your position was calling for and just execute? Or is that like a discussion beforehand where you're going to be, rallying up the extras and you're going to be calling playback and you're going to call for camera? Like, how does that conversation go? Because I do know typically that's an AD role, but I saw you doing it.
It's one of those things where like I said, it was so much going on, and there were so many changes. So what we had to do was everybody kind of had to like step up and like play multiple positions in certain times of the day. So it was just seeing a need that needed to be done to kind of move our shoot along in any capacity, and everybody just being hands on. There was even times where Des grabbed like 2 VHS cameras that weren't even like playing and just saw an opportunity to be like, yo, we need to get this and get that. Matter of fact, some of those shots in the gas station were shot by her.
Oh, that's awesome.
So she literally was
shouts out to Des.
Yeah. So she really got the little fisheye joint.
Yeah.
It was all on Sexy's ass and doing all type,
She probably felt most comfortable with Des doing that anyway.
Right. So
that's cool.
It was just like, it got to a point where, those who were like, I guess, leaders in this project all was just like, look, what can I do right now? And just make it happen.
Yeah.
So, it allowed us to kind of collaborate in a different way.
Nice. Here, let me get this situated again. We got about 15 minutes left on our media. Figure out why this isn't even showing up. Okay, there we go. It's gonna come up now. You can scrub us back to where we were, and we'll just pick back up going through this.
No problem.
Thank you.
No problem. Oh, thank you. Wow.
That's what you like?
Huh?
That's what you like?
I'm here with you.
I mean, you looking at her like that's what you like.
Nah. Don't start. Please don't start.
You know what? It's other niggas in here anyway.
What?
Big sexy blood, love hoes, bounce that ass, touch them toes. Booty shorts, coochie swole, don't go look my booty out. Niggas, they I'm gon' trust a nigga, that's a no. He can't eat my coochie hoe, awesome Johnson got me though. Look at me sexy, walking down the street. I don't know what to do cause the niggas after me. I'm so fucking sexy and my skin is glistening. Diamonds hitting hard, niggas wanna try my thing. Get it sexy, get it sexy, get it sexy, get it sexy. Slim thick, crumble skin, fine, this bitch a 10. Her done, bills paid, catch me sliding in a Benz.
Man, the scene with Aiden was definitely one of my favorite scenes to do.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I got to really help on that scene in the sense of like coming up with some of the ideas for it. Des wanted to do this little quick homage to apple pie.
Oh, with the American Pie.
American Pie. I'm saying apple pie. American Pie. Yeah. So I was like, thinking about, or like really I don't know how I came into the joint, but we kept talking about, him fucking this pie and how we was gonna like shoot this or make it make sense really in the video. So it was very fun. Like I said, things were just popping up.
Yeah.
So it was very fun to it was stressful to get these different people and ideas and then be like, oh dang, what can we do to make it make sense? Because we can't just have all these random people. We're trying to make it make sense to some degree.
Yeah.
So I was really proud of being able to kind of come up with how to kind of connect this story.
Yeah. They were dropping dots all around and you had to draw the lines to them.
So be able to use Aiden in this video and bring him in with the computer and the whole MySpace, which again, VFX killed it in those spaces. It was so subtle, but it's like that skill set really kind of transitioned and gave the video that nostalgic layer that it really needed.
Yeah.
Art department, everybody did great. But these little pieces, man, it really sold it. And like I said, the scene with Aiden was fun to do. And there was so many shots that we were supposed to get.
Did he creatively give input on the
No,
scene?
he was just down.
Or he just showed up.
He showed up. He was down with it. You know what I'm saying? I was a little. I think at the time I wasn't even all that familiar with Aiden. I knew who he was, and I see his content. But I wasn't really necessarily that invested or knowing how he was. But I kept worrying. I'm thinking like, did anybody tell him what he's doing? Like, does he know that he needs to like look like he's fucking the spot? How he's gonna react? And then I think I did like a quick little due diligence, and I was like, oh, he's totally gonna be down for it.
Yeah.
And as soon as he got on set, he was like, what? Yeah. And then it was just like,
he knew the movie?
Huh?
He knew the movie?
Yeah, he knew the movie. The movie. So it was fun. It was fun to shoot. I mean, he didn't do that many takes. He was into it. And he killed it, man.
Yeah.
It was dope. And we had Rob 49 pull up. He's the guy who catches them. And it was just like it was a fun thing to kind of make happen. And I think everybody enjoyed it. I think everybody was like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
But seeing it and now they do it, they're probably like, this was totally fun.
Yeah, no, that's what's up. No, it's a hilarious tidbit for sure.
Yeah, and then it's perfect. It was one of those things where I was like trying to figure out how is all this gonna make sense and fit. But it really came together.
How did Aiden get into the equation? Is he just one of those people who
I think it was supposed to be someone
available
else.
and down?
It was supposed to be someone else, and then somehow it became Aiden. But I think at that time, Aiden said something about like on like the internet. It was like I slept with Sexyy Red.
Right. I think I remember that.
So we found it like again, it was a great opportunity to like kind of pull on to that.
Yeah. So timing.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. No, I do remember that.
That's what we doing, bro. I'm fine.
It's Sexy Red, bro.
It's not Sexy Red.
The credit shot was cool too. I love the Lakers championship tribute.
Yeah.
Was that sorry, I'll let you.
Girl, don't be having all that booty in front of my man. Go to the bed with that body. My man is right here.
Okay.
Come on.
All right.
Go do it.
The Lakers championship shot, was that
was
just like a scene that didn't make the cut?
It's definitely a scene that didn't make cut, and it was, again, like I said, we were adding so many things.
Yeah, it looked cool. I guess it was a cool little shot for the credits.
Yeah, it definitely was cool for the credits, and like the real thing, how we was able to kind of like make everything fit. We was always like, if we shoot Aiden raw scene and we shoot this computer, we always got some context of how to make it all make sense, because it can all be through like this MySpace page. So even if it's random, we can always use Aiden and the computer as a key pice to make it all make sense. So that was like, again, a lot of like quick thinking. It was kind of dope to, like I said, to be in that type of pressure.
Yeah.
So
that's what's up. I'm gonna just jump to the last point that I had. I wanted to make sure you get to, and that was advice for aspiring directors. And I wanted to know, do you have any advice that you would give to young directors looking to break into the music video production realm specifically? And then also, just film in general. Do you have any general advice to directors who are already trying to break in, that maybe, they've been at it for a year and they haven't seen the success as quickly? Maybe they don't live in a city with the resources as available to land on a Diddy yacht in a year.
Right.
What sort of advice do you have,
Yeah, I think in that space wherever you are, where you want to shoot, music videos, just talk about specifically, and at a level that is, that is your goals. right now, I think you're in a space of having to like being able to just really just focus on the craft and create, because sometimes when you get in that position where they're paying you and you're doing these things, you can get caught up in you know where you're currently at and not necessarily sharpening your skills and your knife to be able to kind of get to where you want to go. So that's kind of a beautiful space where you get to really kind of create rather than create for someone. And you can kind of establish a look in this time that can attract, what I'm saying, the clients that you want. It's almost like, just like shooting a proof of concept for a film or a spec for a commercial. If you can like find these artists in your backyard and offer, to do something and make that investment in yourself, that's definitely like one thing to just always try and do. Wherever, you got to kind of be willing to go out and kind of take the risk. I'm not saying to jump across the world and shoot somebody a music video for free, but wherever you're accessible to, you want to try and find that so that you can kind of put that time into yourself, or go out there and not all music videos have to be with an artist. If you want to kind of shoot videos, you can go out there, find your favorite country song, and find some actors or some people to kind of tell a story or emulate what a visual could be like. But you always got opportunities, and I think if you just get out there and try and just create, you'll put yourself in a better position. I think that's at the heart of it, is what you want to be able to do, and just reaching out to people, trying to start building that community. One of the things that I focused on heavily just in my career and always was community.
Yeah.
Trying to find like one person at a time who could be down, who you can work with, that you feel comfortable working with, because they might be great. That don't mean you like them. I feel like there has to be some type of likability, some sense of friendship, in order to like work with people and go far.
Yeah.
Because that covers a lot of just the basic virtues of any relationship, like trust.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if you make that effort, to invest in yourself, then you have no reason not to grow and kind of build. Because all it is just taking that, adapting that, and just stacking it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Considering the stage that you're at now in your career,
Mhm.
is there anything you would either do different, or is there any major key piece of advice that you would go back and give yourself in 2016 when you began this journey?
I feel like one of the biggest advice I would give myself is to really, and this is what I love about Gen Z, to really try and focus on yourself and what you want. I feel like this generation is entirely built on sharing information. I feel like you have so many tutorials teaching you how to do this thing for yourself, to empower you in some way, to kind of expand your mind on how to do something, how to create something. Like, you got all these kids who are like these new filmmakers coming up, and like their skill set is learned so fast paced, man. I mean, outside the fact that everything is easily more accessible nowadays, but you got like directors who are like 3D artists, editors and 3D artists, and like, so their functionality on how to kind of create things and do things is on a completely different level and mindset. It's not that makes them that much better or stronger. No one's saying you have to do all those things, but I think we're able to kind of create these little sub niche director styles now, because now we have all this information that's accessible to us, and we're able to like kind of dial in a little bit deeper and see things through. And that's through being able to study more. Like,
Right.
I feel like studying studying how to do this then was just very closed off.
Yeah.
Like the information is so vast now that the only thing that I wish I could have done is, study a lot more, but at the same time, the information wasn't all as accessible as it was.
No, it definitely wasn't.
Yeah.
No, it's a lot more out there now for sure.
Yeah.
Available to be taken advantage of.
Yeah, and then they get to start a whole lot earlier. They're able to look at tutorials. You got 12, 14-year-old kids who started off in Blender.
Mm-hmm.
Then,
Yeah.
so like they're learning a lot of concepts. Some of them might have started off in Blender. Now they're a whole DP because they play with virtual lighting for so long. Of course, at 12 years old, 14, you ain't had access to anything. You don't got no lights around.
Yeah.
But you've been on the computer, so now you have an understanding of
Yeah.
like what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah, the theory.
Yeah. So, that would be the big thing: study, and cultivate community.
You guys heard it there. Study and cultivate community is what he would tell the younger self. Is what he would tell his younger self. Cultivate community, study. It's good advice. And on that note, we are going to bring this very first episode of the Martini Take to a wrap. I want to thank my brother here, Creed. Again, Jordan Gonzalez, DP. Hopefully see you guys soon on the next episode. Make sure you guys tap into all of the links below. We're going to make sure we tag everything Creed's got going on, all of his pages and endeavors, his production company. And we will make sure we get the other creators on this Sexy Red Drake project credited and tagged as well. We haven't forgot about you guys. And I just hope you guys got something insightful from this talk that I've had with my brother here.
For sure.
And plan to bring you many more.